A very good evening and a warm welcome to UBC News Tonight on this 22nd day of March 2023. Now, before we delve into tonight's news bulletin, let's first take a look at the top stories tonight. In our headlines tonight, Museveni hails Indian community for their role in Uganda's economic growth. Huge turn-up for presidential skilling program overwhelms training hub. Economic implications expected once Kenya's protests surge. And in sports, Vipers Soccer Club drawn against Calvary in Stanbic Uganda Cup quarterfinals. Good evening once again. I am Lauryn Kazimoto and my colleague Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language interpretation. Tonight we start off with President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has commended Lohana business community for the contribution towards the development of Uganda. Museveni has also requested the Indian business community to support the value addition of raw materials in Uganda. This was during the Lohana International Business Forum at Speak Resort, Munyonyo. We have the details.
Over 750 investors have participated in the Lohana International Business Forum 2023 to benchmark opportunities available for investment in Africa. Uganda's head of state, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, graced the dialogue and reiterated government's commitment to support investors. The president told the participants to take advantage of Uganda's natural resources, raw materials, and developed infrastructure to bolster socio-economic agenda.
This economy can quickly become a first world economy. It is now entering the middle income level, but it can even go faster. Why? Because the raw material base is already big. Like coffee. Coffee, we are producing almost 9 million bags of coffee, and we are earning about $900 million from that. But if you add value, it can bring in 10 billion. The same quantity can bring in 10 times more money than it is bringing now.
This comes handy with availing a secure and good investment environment to attract foreign capital inflows towards value addition.
We will give them non-tax incentive that you have directed, that we give them free land that they do not have to pay a coin. What we expect out of return is job creation for the citizens of Uganda.
When they set up businesses here to, for example, benefit from the 10-year tax holiday, it is very important that 70% of the people they employ are Ugandans, but also 70% of the payroll for the companies they set up here, for the factories they set up here, is going to Ugandans. And we make sure that they are paying pay as you earn, such that the country can make money and deploy in other enabling services like roads.
This land is blessed with sun, fertile soil, and an abundance of fresh water, full of minerals and agriculture, including cash crops. Uganda is located centrally in the continent of Africa, standing the equator, providing a hub to cater to the rest of Africa, north, south, and west, east and west. Uganda has a large, young, and tech-savvy and employable workforce. We are holding our conference in Uganda as we believe that both the potential investors and the people of this great nation can benefit and grow mutually.
Continental free trade agreements with market opportunities have been signed to attract more investment.
That the following companies and sectors have expressed deep intent to invest in Uganda in order to exploit the market opportunities in East Africa and Central Africa, to help open the offtake markets where possible for Ugandan food products and services, and invest in the value chains of the products Uganda is aiming to increase our exports to the world.
Uganda has many natural resources, a young, increasingly educated workforce, a steadily rising middle income, and more stable in terms of governance, including macroeconomic policies, all of which makes an ideal destination for long-term investment. You can see some of us families came here 120 years and we are still here.
This is the first ever Lohana Business Forum to be held in Uganda, attracting investors from over 22 countries under the theme Africa Calling. Ivan Kahwa and Abdul Nasir Lobwama, UBC News.
Members of Parliament from West Nile sub-region today met with Prime Minister Robin Anabanja to review implementation of strategic development projects in the region. Top among the priority programs discussed included the urgent need for road infrastructure development, electricity connectivity, human resource management and agricultural value addition. The meeting took place in the office of the Prime Minister in Kampala.
The President directed the Prime Minister, Right Honourable Robin Anabanja, to hold regional meetings with respective members of Parliament to review and get updates on government service delivery. This is the fourth meeting following one held recently with members of Parliament from Busoga sub-region.
We decided this office and the office of the government chief to interact with you, get those issues, and where possible have those issues answered by the relevant MDS.
Like in the previous meetings, the members of Parliament raised a cross-section of issues affecting government service delivery in the sub-region. The need to scale up road construction and maintenance featured prominently during the discussion.
When we say Goli, maybe Goli, Zombo, I heard this year. What is this year? And I heard Zombo, Vora, next year. What is next year?
I have listened to the presentation and I have not heard them talk about the road between Nebi and Arua.
For example, if we give you an example in Cherego, you have, I don't know how they connect, you have a sub-county called the Aivu. And then Birefe. Then if they have a road connecting those three sub-counties, you will get 17 million plus 10 plus 13. And if you use force on account, that money is enough to upgrade a better road.
The Prime Minister stressed the need for coordination between the executive and the legislature in order to improve on service delivery. Authorities from the Uganda National Roads Authority, UNRA, briefed the members of Parliament about the ongoing and planned road projects in the sub-region.
Kogoko-Moyo Yumbe is one of the key projects in NDP3. We are done with the procurement. We are undertaking the procurement process. We are actually at the tail end of it, and we are waiting for no objection from the World Bank.
A detailed schedule indicating the release of funds to district local governments for road maintenance in the financial year 2022-2023 in the sub-region was also presented.
If you know, Arua district is getting first got 240 million shillings. You know, Arua district is now the former Vura County, if I remember. So it's really a small district and gets about 240 million. So we've got 240 million as at end of Q3. We've got Moyo. Moyo has got up to 486 million, that's 21.36%.
Commenting about the forthcoming NAM summit to be held in Uganda, the Prime Minister called upon the members of Parliament to offer support.
We shall host the non-aligned movement countries and then the group of 77, the Chinese group of 77. We have had a number of meetings and we have got a number of achievements, and one of them is the construction of the convention center. And I believe this is the biggest convention that we shall have or summit in this country. So it will leave us at another level.
The meeting was attended by the second Deputy Prime Minister, Right Honourable General Moses Ali, the Government Chief Whip, Honourable Hamson Oboa, and several other ministers. Doreen Nasasara reporting for UBC News.
The youths of Kampala have turned up to register for the presidential initiative on skilling boys and girl child in high numbers, and in some places visited by the UBC team, some prospective learners were left out due to the high turn-up.
students in 5 divisions of Kampala have been registered to start vocational skills training courses under the Presidential Initiative for Skilling the Boy and Girl Child. Among the places we visited include Motondwe, Wandegeya, Mulago, Sabwe and Luzira Nakawa. We found many prospective learners had turned up in large numbers. Dr. Faith Mirembe Katana, the head of the program with State House, said the youths have embraced this program and thanked the President for the initiative.
I asked His Excellency to see that he gets more funding and we open up more centers. And also we find it somehow it embarrasses us, so you feel bad when you find that you leave people of Nansana, which is in Wakiso, yet it is close. You leave people of Kajansi.
The Nakawa Deputy RCC, Sheikh Qasim Kamgisha, commended the initiative and thanked the youth for the huge turn-up.
When you have gotten the chance to come and study, please give it time, give it a commitment. The skill will benefit you as an individual first, before it benefits our country, Uganda.
Namale Bisirikira, the Mutundwe Center Administrator and the Luzira Prison Center Administrator, Joyce Athieno, hailed the initiative.
Skilling jobs are really wanting in Uganda, and I would wish the President, as I thank him for initiating such, to continue expanding. Luzira Center is too small.
Naye sofa olunaku nze nga supervisor owa Mutundwe kino kinsuseeko bano bonna be mulaba mu background be bantu abafikidde.
Courses include hairdressing, tailoring, bakery, shoemaking, weaving and embroidery.
Now, yesterday, 387 legislators passed the 2023 Anti-homosexuality bill, which now awaits consent by the President, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, into law. We share with you some of the stringent measures proposed in the amendments. Take a look.
The final version of the 2023 Anti-homosexuality bill is yet to be officially published, but elements discussed in Parliament include the death penalty for what is described as aggravated homosexuality, that is sexual abuse of a child or a person with disability or vulnerable people, or in cases where a victim of homosexual assault is infected with a lifelong illness. Children found guilty of engaging in homosexuality face 3 years in jail, with provisions for rehabilitation in line with the Children's Act. A person who is convicted of grooming or trafficking children for purposes of engaging them in homosexuality activities faces life in prison. Media groups, journalists and publishers face prosecution and imprisonment for publishing, broadcasting, distribution of any content that advocates for gay rights or promotes homosexuality. Individuals or institutions which support or fund LGBTQ rights activities or organizations or publish, broadcast or distribute pro-gay media material and literature also face prosecution and imprisonment. Property owners also face risk of being jailed if their premises are used as a brothel for homosexual acts. Failure to report attempted or acts of homosexuality is punished by 100 million Ugandan shillings and a fine of imprisonment for 6 months or both.
The top management of Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation has failed to account for the 9.91 billion shillings, the value at which they gave away 1.778 hectares of government land in a joint venture with Veridos Consortium, a German company, to construct a factory in Entebbe. The chairperson of the committee, Joel Senyonyi, said the acting financial manager, UPPC, John Ahimbisiwe, is to be held accountable for causing government loss of 1.5 billion shillings because of the chief government valuer had valued the property at 10.6 billion shillings. We have more.
The Committee for Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises continues inquiries for Auditor General's report on Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation of 30th June 2022. The summoned Minister for Presidency, Millie Babalanda, has not appeared, and the committee decided to engage the team for the top management to give responses for queries in the Auditor General's report. Uganda Printing and Publishing Company made a joint venture with Veridos Consortium, a German company, which culminated into Uganda Security Printing Company. UPPC was to provide land for German investors to construct a factory and build the capacity of UPPC technologically. The contestation, however, arises at the value of 9.91 billion at which land was given out, yet the chief government valuer had valued it at 10.6 billion, causing government loss of 1.5 billion shillings.
At this present time, you did not engage the chief government valuer for a latest valuation. Did you or did you not?
I didn't.
Okay. Then, chief finance manager and the corporation secretary are the ones who told you to go by the figures prepared by the German investors. True or false?
It's false, because we didn't go with the German figures.
The acting finance officer here thinks he has gone to another school as compared to the accountant general staff. Maybe we now need to hear from the accountant general, because he's just trying to confuse people with the jargon accounting language.
And should have been revalued. It should have been revalued. To give you that fair value you are talking about, it should have been revalued. You cannot go with the books, you cannot go with the figures in the accounts.
No government valuer are doing that.
Yes.
Why did you do the work of the chief government valuer? Are you a staff of that office?
Yeah. Yes, Chair. The government valuer would have been brought around. If those.
So what was your intention of shielding?
Members of Parliament wanted to know the criteria for choosing this particular company for the joint venture, but the acting managing director, Kenneth Oluka, said the documents he found in his office did not include earlier transactions for the joint venture agreement. The acting managing director, UPPC, told committee members that the agreement was signed in 2018, but the construction of the factory started in May 2022, and work is supposed to be complete in a period of 8 months. Members of the committee were, however, surprised to hear that the person in this office of the accounting officer and the corporate secretary could not provide information of the contract like the members representing UPPC on the Uganda Security and Publishing Company Board. This forced the members to propose the team leaders to be put on oath.
UPPC is in a joint venture with a German company. A joint venture means you are in a partnership. As the corporation secretary, you are not bothered to know whether the person you are partnering with is a legal entity in Uganda.
These offices in a person, or you delegate some people in the offices you hold?
Mr. Luka, yes. What is the term of office of the board of the joint venture?
The term of office, 5 years.
I would expect the accounting officer to know this offhand, that you don't have to first open now a contract and that kind of thing, because this is our major engagement, if you like, as UPPC.
Kenneth Oluka said Uganda Security Printing Company operates independent of UPPC, although it is the majority shareholder, and the circumstances they have operated under included inheriting problems in the corporation. The chairperson of the committee, Joe Senyonyi, instructed the team to carry documents for all the directors of Uganda Security Printing Company to the committee Thursday. I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Gwetabinji in Kampala.
Kampala city traders have urged the East African community to intervene and resolve the tension in Kenya before the situation escalates into a major conflict. Kampala City Traders Association spokesperson Issa Sechito expressed worry that if the protests in Kenya intensify, it will jeopardize the transportation of Uganda's imports and exports that transit via Kenya. This follows an announcement by opposition leader Raila Odinga to hold national protests every Monday and Thursday.
Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga this week announced national demonstrations to take place every Monday and Thursday in neighboring Kenya. This has aroused anticipation for major economic drawbacks, given that at least 90% of Uganda's imports transit through Kenya.
If we are not importing, when we rely on imports for our production in this country, our factories, just take the steel industry. We import steel ingots, we import sheets, we import rolls for manufacturing the products that we're using. So if all those are not coming in, what happens? What happens to employment? What happens to taxes? Government will not be collecting taxes. People will lose employment. And once they lose employment, of course, poverty elements now creep in, and the entire economy is actually negatively affected because of this.
The East African community has been tasked to resolve the tensions in Kenya before the situation worsens.
African community to be relevant, especially the summit, heads of state. They could have personal interests as the presidents, but institutional reasons needed to overhaul, or we don't look at who supports who in this problem. We look at business progressing, because the major importance for why we went into the community protocol is to have massive business across the region.
Kampala City Traders Association spokesperson, they have engaged the responsible authorities in Uganda and await response.
The Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives in Uganda, the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Uganda, the Minister of East African Community Affairs, and what are we saying? Is there a possibility of the summit, these are the heads of state, intervening before they intervene to save when it has become war?
Uganda has in the past faced challenges where goods are unable to cross through Kenya. One wonders then if this is the time for Uganda to explore other import-export routes through Tanzania.
What can we do? It takes resources. It may be a long-term plan to make sure that both routes can be used interchangeably, but I can assure you it's costly.
The Kenya government still owes Kaseta $100 million in compensation from the previous damages caused to Ugandan traders during the 2008 election conflict. Marian Wumcha, UBC News.
UBC News Tonight takes a very short break, but we return after these messages.
With freedom. Get MTN Freedom Voice Bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me, and as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sawuti 116.
Glow as you are with the new Spark 10 series smartphone from Airtel in partnership with Techno. Own the timelines with picture-perfect selfies using the 32-megapixel selfie camera, 256GB storage, G88 gaming processor, and a strong battery to last the whole day. Haha! Towakana.
The Spark 10 smartphone comes with free 3GB from Airtel and 100% bonus on weekly and monthly bundles every month for 3 months, so you can stay connected to a world of possibilities. Dial *100 *5# to enjoy free data. The new Spark 10 is available in all selected Techno shops countrywide. Airtel, the smartphone network in partnership with Techno. Stop at nothing.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, Find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that break. Now, the Executive Secretary of IGAD, His Excellency Wunke Gebehu, has commended Uganda's contribution to IGAD as one of the founding members of the journey of 37 years of IGAD. Now, in a meeting at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Gebehu appreciated Uganda for the role it plays regarding peace and security. The Minister for Foreign Affairs, General Abubakar Jeje Odong, commended IGAD's effort to bringing peace in the region.
Minister for Foreign Affairs General Abubakar Jeje Odong today held a meeting with the visiting Executive Secretary of IGAD, His Excellency Wokene Gebeyehu, on a number of issues, which included the role of IGAD.
As you well know, this region has been bedeviled with a number of conflicts, and the significant role that IGAD has played has significantly lowered the risk in this region in terms of conflicts related to resource, conflicts related to politics, and we must now admit that the situation is much better than it was in South Sudan, in Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti, Eritrea, Somalia. All of those situations in this region are much better than they were before.
Odong appreciated and commended IGAD's efforts towards bringing peace in the region. The Executive Secretary of IGAD, His Excellency Wokene Gebeyehu, commended Uganda's contribution to IGAD as one of the founding members in the journey of 37 years of IGAD. He says they have established an office in Uganda to help all regions in the challenges they are facing.
In the journey of 37 years of IGAD, number one, I'm here to thank the Republic of Uganda for their contribution, very positive contribution, political contribution, diplomatic contribution, financial contribution that helped the effort of IGAD. Now, because of the cessation of hostilities, which is facilitated by African Union, and IGAD played a key role on that, now Ethiopia is better than yesterday. Now the life of thousands of Ethiopians has saved. This is because of all leaders, including Excellency President Museveni, who added his voice on this peace message to Ethiopia. So we are very thankful for that issue also.
Jane Nuramcha reporting for UBC.
Minister for Presidency, Babie Mili Babalanda, has asked local government leaders of Northern Sub-region to prioritize the parish development model to stimulate development. The message was echoed by the State Minister, Kampala Metropolitan, Kabuye Chofatogabye, at the opening of a retreat of the local government officers at the National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi. Kabuye asked local government officers to ensure that there is sustainable use of resources.
District
local government officers of the Greater Lango Acholi sub-region are undergoing administrative training at the National Leadership Institute Chankwanzi. Representing the Minister for Presidency, Minister Kampala Metropolitan Kabuye Chofatogavye asked the officers to sensitize and monitor the local person on the parish development model and manifesto implementation.
Because it's a retreat of 3 regions, the Acholi region, Lango region and the Teso region leaders, especially LC5s, the mayors of the cities, and then RDCs and their administrative officers or accounting officers. The issue is just to track the manifesto, where we are, we track the performance of our manifesto, of NRM, of course, not the manifesto of other things, of NRM 2021-26, given that we are already in the mid-year term. So it is to track and validate, because what is going to be shared is the performances where we are, and then the leaders will have an opportunity to validate whether that was what is being talked about is right or wrong.
The minister asked the local council leaders never to be used by political seekers in serving the people, because they will be accountable at the end of their term in office. The permanent secretary, Minister of Local Government, Haji Yunus Kakande, asked leaders to be change agents, utilize and encourage people to venture in agriculture.
So it's hard time that you do your work in the districts, chief administrative officers, you have a habit. You have government money in local banks, you don't want to do work, and then at the end of the year, you return all the money back to the central government. And you make those projects fail and finance the next, in the coming year, they say that no, we gave you so much, you never did with anything with it. Let's now look at new issues.
He warned chairpersons of local councils to stop writing letters to the local government ministry requesting for the interdiction of resident district commissioners, but focus on unity.
You people in the northern region and the northeastern region, you still have good land. Still have good land and vast expenses of land. You must encourage your people to get a hoe, because that's what we have. Generally, we cannot have mechanized tractors everywhere, but at least a hoe.
Willis Bashasha asked officers to live by the mandate of their appointment for proper implementation of the agenda to develop a reading culture, be good communicators, and monitor government programs.
There is no way how you are going to tell the people that you see, let's do this, when you yourself you are a mistake. That won't work. Huh? We have not deployed you in these areas to go and father many children and cause biological warfare on other people's women.
Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Parliament has noted a move to bar the army officials from performing mandatory requirement of declaring their wealth to the Inspectorate of Government. Now, Kalungu West Member of Parliament Joseph Sewungu tabled a letter purported to have been addressed to the IGG by the President to back off army officers from the exercise. This comes at a time when the IGG, Betty Kamya, denied knowledge of the letter.
It is stipulated under Articles 233 subsection 2 and 234 of the Constitution of Uganda and Section 4 of the Leadership Code Act 2021 that public servants should declare to IGG their incomes, assets and liabilities every 2 years during the month of March. Recently, the IGG Betty Kamya asked the respective categories to adhere to the constitutional requirement and act accordingly. Reports from various media pins it that President Yoweri Museveni asked the IGG to exclude the army from participating in the exercise. Joseph Sewungu, the Kalungu West Member of Parliament, alerted the House.
So the procedure matter I'm raising, that would it be procedure okay for the Attorney General to appear before this Parliament and explain this Parliament under which legal regime is General Museveni is using to direct the IGG, stopping the armed officers from declaring their wealth?
The IG Act, there is a provision for President to make decisions where the security of the country might be compromised. So there is provision within the law for the President to to harmonize with the IGG, where security of the country and even diplomatic relations is provided for in the law. So I'm trying to harmonize that.
The government chief whip, Hamson Obua, distanced himself from the matter, and MP Sewungu was asked to provide evidence.
First of all, Uganda is governed by the rule of law. And secondly, I want to state that I am not yet aware or have not yet seen the letter the honorable colleague is referring to, and I can't proceed to make a commitment on behalf of government
because they are necessary. But however, I want to read this letter where the president is stopping the IGG from asking senior armed officers to declare their wealth. I beg to read.
This week, after the media reports, IGG Betty Kamia denied knowledge of the matter.
You know, as you saw, I haven't even received that letter myself. I don't know. We haven't, as IG, we have not received that letter. But from what I see on social media,
in the letter tabled by MP Sewungu, the president addressed it to the IGG on April 2022. Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
Namilyango College head teacher Constantine Mpuga has spoken volumes about the new lower secondary curriculum that his school starts implementing this year. Mpuga revealed this on the eve of the college's celebration of the Namilyango College Day this weekend.
On the eve of celebrating Namilyango Day, one of Uganda's oldest secondary schools, Namilyango College, has declared implementation of the lower secondary senior 1 to senior 3 curriculum.
We need to support this curriculum. I think it is going to make our boys and our students very creative, very innovative, very confident, and highly skilled because of the content.
This coincides with the annual Namilyango Day that has been a mainstay since the college's inception in 1902.
We come to celebrate. We also, on that day, we come to re-energize ourselves about the present and the future.
The day will witness launch of the Dr. Pellegrin Kibuka Endowment Foundation that's to help in key areas like needy students and infrastructure development.
The old students have noticed that sometimes you have some unfortunate students who may lack fees. And indeed, they've been giving us resources to support some students. Now a new idea has come up that is more sustainable. We are launching the Namilyango College Dr. Peregrine Chibuka Endowment Foundation. In this foundation, we shall raise resources in terms of money, and the money will be invested in various investment vehicles.
Namilyango College is proudly one of Uganda's best, having produced eminent personalities in all fields, including politicians like Norbert Mao.
UBC News Tonight takes another short break, but we return with more.
Chillax bundles from Airtel have been upgraded. Introducing Voice Chillax bundles. No validity, no expiry, no worries. Dial *100 *1 hash, select voice bundles and choose your preferred Voice Chillax bundle today. Talk longer with loved ones across Uganda with Voice Chillax bundles that don't expire. Airtel, the smartphone network.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Jerry Con! Jerry Con! Hey, Master Blaster! Touch him, man! Bang Jerry Con with muscle! Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava! First group is I teach you. When I go to which the muscari, because of the cover is very far. Is you serious? It's just you. What? Yeah? You stay put on it. Add kilometers to your legs. And you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru. And Umaru refuse to give you enough meat. Mama! Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru, Jerry card.
Okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako, n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
With God, comfort replaces pain, peace replaces confusion, hope replaces sorrow. God loves you and knows you personally. He hears you and speaks to you in your thoughts, in your heart, and through living prophets. Come hear the words God has for you. Watch the General Conference on Sunday, 2nd of April.
Welcome back from that break, and now into the business scene. Tonight we focus on digital advertising industry in Uganda, which has been growing rapidly in the recent years. Now our reporter Mark Wadulo has been investigating the industry and brings us this report.
Digital advertising is relatively a new concept in Uganda, but it is rapidly gaining popularity. However, concerns have been raised about data protection and privacy of citizens.
Because if somebody asks to access your contacts, your SMSs, you're giving them literally access to your phone. From a technical perspective, it does not take much for one to exploit your device and get whatever information they want.
My search history to advertise to me products, I think that's a good thing.
We spoke to Stella Alibatese, the National Personal Data Protection Director at NITA Uganda, about these concerns.
Because the digital economy in its own nature requires the collection or enables the collection of a lot of information, you find that a lot of trust is lost when that data is misused.
Uganda has data protection laws in place, which were passed in 2019. These laws require companies to obtain consent from individuals before collecting their personal information and to use the information only for the purpose of which it was collected.
Unfortunately for us, we are currently still within the town areas due to lack of funding, but it's very important for us to go out to our communities so that we are able to explain this law to our rural communities, explain it in languages that they understand, explain it in a simplified version.
While government is responsible for regulating the industry, private sector players have also called for an enabling environment that will support the growth of the industry.
We are innovators. What we want is only good policies. When we go to UCC to look for certificate to allow us operate, we need it without much conditions. When we go to NITA looking for certificate to operate, we need it with ease. But instead of helping us get such documents, instead they want corruption. They want to give me this, I get for you quickly.
According to a report by Hotsuit and We Are Social, the number of internet users in Uganda has increased by 23% over the past year, reaching a total of 23 million users. This presents a huge opportunity for companies that are investing in the industry.
Most of the times when I post some of the works I have done, especially maybe, okay, by then I would really, really maximize Facebook and maybe my WhatsApp profiles, and then sometimes even Instagram, a little of that. I really tend to get a lot of, okay, let me call them likes or maybe comments in one way or the other.
Digital advertising is very good. Digital advertising is very key, but we should all know that in the country we are in, digital advertising can't run alone. You can't say I'm only going to do digital advertising and I'll be very successful. You must do multimedia advertising that is strong on digital, strong on traditional. What I'm saying is, don't only put adverts on social media and say, in Chikubye, I'll be very successful. Beyond digital media, beyond TV, beyond radio, beyond print.
According to the Uganda Communications Commission's advertising standards, digital marketing falls under interactive advertising, which allows the viewer or listener of an advert to supply information to an advertiser via a return path, but should be warned by the advertiser with appropriate means that they are about to enter a commercial interactive environment not governed by the regulator. Wadulo Mark Arnold, UBC News, in Kampala.
The National Agricultural Research Organization, NARO, has entered a partnership with the consultative group on international agriculture research aimed at advancing research and innovation in crop and animal varieties. The Deputy Director General in charge of research at NARO, Dr. Yona Baguma, says the partnership between the two parties will create opportunities for scaling research outputs.
The partnership between the National Agriculture Research Organization and Consultative Group on International Agriculture Research is intended to come up with solutions to problems which affect farmers at grassroots level.
We are optimistic as a country that we will be able to learn from what has happened in the past, strengthen the present scores, and also work closely with our national partners to create more impact for our people. I am encouraged because of having listened to what you have presented that issues like climate adaptation and mitigation will be addressed, environmental health and biodiversity, gender equality, youth and social inclusion.
The partnership aims at driving research which will help improve quality of crop and animal varieties and further suit the changing climatic conditions.
We start combining, finding mothers and fathers, for example, some that are more nutritious for animals and some that are very good at resisting pest pressure. And we start crossbreeding them together. We start getting new grasses that get the benefits of the mothers and fathers, and therefore become much better at production.
The Deputy Director General in charge of research, Dr. Yona Baguma, says it is through partnerships and research that the country has been able to overcome issues of food scarcity.
Today, as you go past Kafo River, you will see the most popular cassava. That cassava, we were able to develop it in partnership with ITA. When you go to eastern Uganda, Paris and many other areas, you'll see many other cassava clones were able to develop in partnership with ITA. So what gives thanks to ITA for having worked with NARO to develop that solution? In the case of banana, we had a similar ravaging disease of banana bacterial wilt. We were not prepared again to manage it well as Uganda. And we had to move again together with our government partners, Biodiversity and many others, universities across the world, and were able to get a solution for people in this country. Without banana, you can hardly talk of food security in this country.
National Agriculture Research Organization management says they are coming up with forages which are not only nutritious but also help increase on animal production.
We want to tell farmers in Uganda that unlike 50 or 30 years ago where we let our animals just go out and eat the natural grass, the genetics in our animals today cannot allow us to just feed with local grass. We, as the research scientists, have come up with varieties that match the genetics in the animal. So we have forages that are good for you, that are drought tolerant, disease resistant, and with enough nutritive quality that you require to have more milk and more meat.
Mary Namkose, UBC News.
Cabinet and a parliamentary committee have toured Day Pharmaceuticals plant Matuga in Wakiso district to see how to support it. Led by Dr. Monica Musenero, the ministers toured the facility and promised to influence government to finance the plant's takeoff. This follows the withdrawal of the financier Equity Bank from supporting the pharmaceutical plant.
Very fast to clear the equipment, we ship it, and then we finish the facility, we install it, and then we start production.
Uganda might lose its premier pharmaceutical plant that many are looking at as the leading producer of biological drugs in the region.
When this factory is finished, it is going to manufacture all types of vaccines. It's the mass production for the vaccines, even the COVID vaccines we are working on. This is where we will bring them for the final mass production once we have taken them through all the clinical trials. We will be able to manufacture all the childhood vaccines that we use to vaccinate. Right now we import, we buy all of them.
Day Biopharma Biotech Laboratories are seeking $600 million to make it afloat. This is after its financer, Equity Bank, reportedly pulled out from an earlier agreed loan of $500 million on recommendation of Bank of Uganda that the project is not viable.
That is required to complete the project. So far, we've been able to mobilize $500 million from banks, from our partners in the US, and we still now here mobilizing the balance of the money to be able to complete it.
This was disclosed during Cabinet Ministers and a Parliamentary Committee visit to the Day Biopharma Biotech Laboratories located in Matuga along Bombo Road. The ministers were led by the Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Monica Musenero.
The whole plan, as he had initially planned, was $600 million. He has so far spent 422. Yeah, so government is going to figure out how do they get engaged with him. Yeah. Okay.
The facility was commissioned by President Yoweri Museveni late last year and promised to support it.
It's not this huge. This is one of the biggest factories in Africa. And the way they have formatted it, it is going to be one of the best competing with the US. That's why the challenge is.
Bane bonna buli abali n'omutima omulungi abalumirira eggwanga kino kibeere kimu ku ebyo bye tulina okukola ki okuwagira ne bwe tunakivudde mu cabinet nga kigenze mu parliament nsaba ne bamemba ba parliament nga bwe twawagidde biiru ya jjo na kino tukikole ki tukiwagire.
I want to appeal to Cabinet and the entire government to support him, members of parliament, and I request that even members of parliament, they really get to visit this facility, especially the committee responsible on health matters and trade and all other committees. I think
the proprietor, Matthias Magola, says that Bank of Uganda advised Equity Bank not to continue financing the project. He now wants government to support pharmaceutical facility that he says is now choking with Equity Bank loan and lack of finances to ship in equipment to manufacture drugs.
We have all the money, we shall complete the entire project by next year.
Okay.
We need 2 years. Once we have all the money, we need 2 years to complete the project.
Okay.
And approvals will take us 1 year.
And, those are 3 years?
Yes, and we're good to go.
Okay.
Yes.
Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Of supporting health in Uganda. This year, the Kabaka Birthday Run will mark its 10-year anniversary on Sunday, 16th April at Lubidi, starting 7 a.m. and continue the fight to end AIDS by 2030. Buy your running kit today at 20,000 shillings from Airtel shops, Benchwanuka, Fubani, New Taxi Pack, or Majestic Brands office in Bulange Mengo. You can also pay using Airtel Money. Dial *185 *5#. Kits purchased using Airtel Money shall be picked from Airtel Wampe or Shop. Proudly sponsored by
The Presidential Initiative for Skilling the Girl and Boy Child informs Kampala divisions of Rubaga, Nakawa, Machindye, Kawempe and Kampala Central that registration for girls and boys of the 15 to 35 years age bracket is on the 22nd of March 2023 at the following skilling centers: Wendige Market, Mulago Community Hall at Our Lady the Help of the Sick Catholic Church, All Saints Church of Uganda Mutundwe, Nakulabi at Our Lady of Fatima Catholic Church, Luzira Prisons at St. Stephen's Church of Uganda, Subway Crested Towers Roundabout, Wabigalo Parish Community Hall, Chigowa Ntinda at Butikira Parish Catholic Church, and Makere Chikoni Community Hall. The registration exercise and the training are free of charge. Requirements include a photocopy of the national ID or the guardian's or the parent's ID for minors bearing the LC1 stamp, signature and phone contact, and 4 recent passport photos. For more information, call 0716 144 562.
Join us this Friday at exactly 5 p.m. when we bring you the African Cup of Nations qualifier match between Uganda and Tanzania. Now this is the East African derby between the two, and of course MTN Uganda. Make sure that all this comes to you live at the comfort of your home. Remember, for Uganda, it's not been a very easy road for them in the last couple of 2 matches played. 2 matches already down, and Uganda is bottom of the table. Many Ugandans will be asking themselves how they'll be able to watch the game. MTN Uganda, Uganda's #1 partner of football, jumps on board with the Uganda Cranes and make sure that you at home enjoy this match at the comfort of your home, free of charge on UPPC. So let's go, Uganda Cranes.
Welcome back, and now into sports. The quarter-final draw for the 2023 Stanbic Uganda Cup has been made at the Federation of Uganda Football Associations. Now, this year's quarter-final has 3 FUFA Big League sides and 5 from the Star Times Uganda Premier League. Take a look.
As has been the case almost all through, the latest round of the Stanbic Uganda Cup has been made by a former footballer. This time round, it was by one of the most notable Ugandans, vocalist Moses Matovu, who after stints at Lint Marketing Board, Nachivubo Boys, Express FC and Police, found home at the Afrigo Band.
Omupiira nina emyaka gye natuukako nga ndaba nti kangende mu music kuba music ngakakati nina emyaka 73 naye nkyayimba so senga mbadde mupiira mba nawummula dda.
The result of the draw pitted a Police FC against a reigning champions Bull FC. Adjumani Town Council will host Express FC. Kampala Capital City Authority Football Club visits Soltilo Bright Stars, while for the first time this season, Vipers SC is at home against Calvary. These one-legged ties will be played between 10th and 15th April, with the only change from earlier rounds being extra time in case there is no winner after the mandatory 90 minutes. The winner of this year's Stanbic Uganda Cup will bag 50 million shillings. Second placed fetches 25 million shillings. Semi-finalists are assured of 12 million shillings, with the quarter-final stage sparing 6 million shillings for all the teams.
Now, the Vipers fan gearing up for the celebrations.
Basketball and golf have been incorporated in the 6th edition of the Smart League that returns this Sunday at Legends Grounds. The aim is to offer competitiveness and diversity in other sports disciplines apart from the usual football. We have more details in this report.
The Smart League returns with Season 6. The tournament meant to unite all former students of St. Mary's College Kisubi has had new features, making it unique from other leagues. First will be a memorial tournament this Sunday at Legends Rugby Grounds, Logogo. With a theme Player Network, the league has had an introduction of basketball and golf as a new feature to the usual football.
So it's the same school with one objective: let us come together. So when we set it up, that is what we wanted: bring people together. Are we doing it? Yes. We've made a family that is huge. On one Sunday, when you come to watch the Smart League and you come at the peak hour, you'll find that there are over 2,000 people in one place. No alumni, no old boys association can gather 2,000 people in one place. So we have fused sports and the school together.
We play as we keep fit, as we identify new potential talent, as we harness talent, as we harness network benefits within the SMARC League. CSR is always going to remain a #1 objective of the SMARC League. And it is on that note that we call upon all our previous partners, all our future potential partners, to come on board with the SMARC League so that we can push CSR and continue making a positive impact in the country and hopefully in the world at large.
Apart from competing, players intend to fundraise for John Murungi, who is undergoing brain surgery. Founded in 2016, the SMARC League has grown its wings, not only in numbers, but equally in competitiveness, with the networking aspect, as well as the fundraising drive as CSR activities.
All right, now UBC News Tonight has come to an end, but before we leave, another look at the top stories tonight. President Museveni hails Indian community for their role in Uganda's economic growth. Huge turn-up for presidential skilling program overwhelms training hubs. Economic implications expected once Kenya protests surge. And in sports, Vipers FC drawn against Calvary in Stanbic Uganda Cup quarterfinals. Thank you so much for your company this evening. Don't forget to watch the only show, the biggest show in the land, that is Behind the Headlines at 10 o'clock. I'm Lauryn Kazimoto and my colleague Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language interpretation. From the team behind the scenes, we wish you a blessed night.
UPPC, inspiring Uganda.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel